What's going on, friends? This is Neil Adler with another episode of Syracuse Central on the Fan Arch Network. Happy Thursday. Week is coming further along. Hope everyone's having a good week. This is Syracuse Central. We talk about Syracuse basketball, football, recruiting in both sports, as well as anything else you want to talk about in life. So, Syracuse football today, transfer portal. Got to hit it. Got to touch on that. The portal's open from January 2nd to January 16th, so it's open right now. Players don't have to commit to their team by January 16th. They just have to be in the portal. And then I believe teams that are in the college football playoff, they have another, I think, 5 days after their season ends, something like that. In any event, as we've talked about on Syracuse Central, the team has a great 2026 prep class coming in. They have some key returnees. They've lost at least 31 guys to the portal. A lot of them, in my opinion, aren't high impact, or at least one this past year. But they're going to hit the portal hard. They've got a couple of commits already. And Fran Brown has talked about how they want to get at least two quarterbacks out of the portal, along with Steve Angeli and three-star incoming freshman Zaid Lott from Charlotte, North Carolina, to fill out the room next year, the quarterback room, that is. And so I reported, along with some others, a source confirmed to me, Mercer transfer quarterback Braden Atkinson, who was an All-American at the FCS level, freshman All-American this past season. He visited on Wednesday. He's from North Carolina. Like I said, he plays at Mercer. And Mercer was 9-3 this past season. Threw for almost 3,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 11 picks. He was named a freshman All-American. He was top 5 of the voting for the Walter Payton Award, which is for the top offensive player in all of FCS. And he also was the first player out of the Southern Conference, Mercer's in the Southern Conference, to win the Jerry Rice Award, which is every year honors at the FCS level the National Freshman Player of the Year. So this dude can play. He's a 3-star transfer prospect. Look, I know he plays at the FCS level, but he's shown that he can play. So he's visiting. We'll see how that goes. Other quarterbacks, just giving you a quick update here that have visited or plan to visit. This is according to my own sources as well as other media reports. Got to give credit where credit is due. I was told that Amari Odom, a transfer quarterback from Kennesaw State, redshirt sophomore, visited on January 5th. He threw for almost 2,600 yards this past season, 19 touchdowns, 8 picks. Marcus Stokes, we've talked about him. He's from West Florida. He visited over last weekend. Several reports that Trey Hayden, a transfer quarterback at Furman, who is a sophomore, he was also visiting earlier this week. Stokes, by the way, redshirt sophomore, West Florida. Trey Hayden, sophomore at Furman. Hayden threw for just under 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 picks. That's not a great ratio. This past season, Syracuse.com reports that Taron Dickens, a redshirt sophomore out of Western Carolina, was expected to visit from Wednesday to Friday. I've talked about him in the past, I believe, on Syracuse Central and on Inside the Loud House. He's from Miami Northwestern Senior High School, where Calvin Russell, Tavarius Hughes, and other guys that are playing for Syracuse currently or will be next year also went. So, Syracuse is going to get one or two guys out of the portal. Hopefully they didn't get anyone by the time this aired, because otherwise this is a little dated, but I don't tape. When I tape and from when it airs isn't that far apart. So anyway, lots going on with transfer QBs. I'll keep you posted. All right. So this happened earlier in the week and just wanted to touch on it. Syracuse picked up a commitment from LSU transfer running back Juwan Johnson. He's a 6'10", 6'10". That is one heck of a running back. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds. He's a sophomore from Louisiana. Like I said, he played at LSU. He's going to have 2 years of eligibility left. I'm pretty sure he did visit over the weekend. Syracuse has a couple of commits at this point, but I just wanted to touch on Johnson just because running back certainly is a very important position. So he's played running back. I believe he was like a backup or emergency dual threat quarterback option for LSU last year. He's played DB before, obviously, running back. He's a good wide receiver. I feel like he fits the mold in terms of like his running and receiving ability of like a LaQuint Allen over a Yassine Willis, who I was kind of disappointed in this past season, although I know he missed some time and the team stunk in running game as it is, just generally speaking. But I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed with Yassine. We've talked about him. He moved on. I believe he committed to Kansas on Wednesday. It's kind of interesting. Um, Johnson rushed the ball 41 times, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns this past season. He had 72 yards receiving. LSU has a new coach and old former Ole Miss boss Lane Kiffin. By the way, I'm rooting for Miami to go to the CFP final, but like if Ole Miss wins the whole thing, I won't be sad because they can stick it to Lane Kiffin. Because if I'm being honest with you, and I don't know, can I say this on YouTube? I think he's a royal douchebag. I'm not saying he's not a great coach, but like he's just a douchebag. I'll just leave it at that. Is Johnson poised to be Syracuse's starting running back? I mean, they've been linked to Peyton Lewis, who is a running back from Tennessee, and I know Pete Nakos from On3 reported a while back that Syracuse was among the early schools to watch for Lewis. I have been told by a source that there could be a visit, but I think he was also visiting Virginia. So I don't know, and I don't know how Johnson committing would change things, but in terms of and look, when you see these guys commit, I know we look at like their stats from last season or last couple years, and you think to yourself, oh my God, is this Johnson guy going to be the starting running back? Because he rushed for how many yards last year? 155. This stuff happens all the time where a guy doesn't do a whole lot, and then next year he's the starter because he's, just kind of moved up the chain, so to speak. And I'm not saying Johnson's going to be the starting running back. I would like to see, Willis left, Jaden Hart and Malachi James, they're sophomore running backs like Willis. They're leaving. They left. Will Nixon, the redshirt senior, he said earlier this week that he did get a waiver to play another year, but he's declared for the NFL draft. I can't see him getting drafted, but I wish him well at the next level. But they have Malachi Coleman, Tyreek Hill, who's shown some promise. But like, if it's Coleman, Hill, and then Johnson as like the main dudes at running back, I mean, that doesn't like overly jazz me. So let's see if they get another running back. And I mean, no disrespect whatsoever to those guys. I'm like, is that going to do it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think? All right. So schedule update. So this is kind of bummer, but I was not surprised by it. So in recent days, Toledo came out with their non-conference schedule for 2026, and Syracuse wasn't on it. And previously, if memory serves correct, Syracuse was going to play Toledo at the Dome, and so like Syracuse was going to have to lose a non-conference game because the ACC is going to 9 league games, so they can only have 3. So, look, I don't know how else you would have gotten around that. I mean, Toledo plays in the Mid-American Conference, the MAC, and they have 12 games. They have 4 non-conference. I guess it was like, and I don't know the ins and outs of like the contracts and all that, but if Syracuse can only play 3 non-conference and then they have the 9 ACC, one of their games had to go. And this was the one that had to go. I believe, if memory serves correct, let me just double check here. I'm pretty sure Syracuse's non-conference games, the other 3 would be New Hampshire, Notre Dame at home. Notre Dame will be tough, of course. They're going to play UConn on the road. That'll be tough. And then Nunzio Campanelli will be with the Huskies. So, and then Syracuse's ACC, according to Cuse.com, their home games, Clemson, SMU, Louisville, Cal. And then on the road, Pitt, BC, Virginia, North Carolina, NC State. So 3, 4, 5 plus UConn. So that's 6 on the road. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ACC home games plus Notre Dame and New Hampshire. So it's 6-6. Now, if they had dropped UConn, which is a road game, and had Toledo, that's an additional home game and one less road game, that would make it 7-5. Certainly, Syracuse's perspective from a revenue standpoint, from the fan base, yeah, they want to have 7-5, but I saw a lot of stuff, a lot of chatter on like message boards, chat forums about, the Toledo game versus the UConn game is one harder to get out of. Um, I don't know the contracts of either of those games, and I really don't. There's no point in speculating, but it's kind of a bummer because Toledo was really good this year. They had a really good defense. Their DC, Vince Cares, is now the new DC at Syracuse. Perry Eliano, who was the cornerbacks coach at Toledo, is now the DB coach at Syracuse. So it would have been fun. Um, it is what it is. So let me just ask you, and it's obviously super early, and we don't know Syracuse's full team. We don't know if Angeli's going to be good to go at the start of the season, but so it's like New Hampshire, Notre Dame at home. I'm just kind of projecting what I think the record could be. What do you think their record could be? Drop me comments. New Hampshire, Notre Dame at home, and then Clemson, SMU, Louisville, Cal. I think they'll beat New Hampshire. I think they'll lose to Notre Dame 1-1. Clemson, screw that. They're going to beat them. 2-1. Cal 3-1. SMU, Louisville. I feel like they're both pretty good teams. I feel like they'll maybe win one, lose one, 3-1. 4-2. Road. UConn. That could be a tough one. But if they got Angeli, 5-2. And then their other roads. Pittsburgh, BC, Virginia, North Carolina, NC State. BC, Pitt. I mean, I don't know what all those teams are going to look like either. I don't know. This could be definitely a 7-5, 8-4, a better team. We'll see. We'll see. Their home schedule is definitely kind of cool. I mean, Clemson, apparently one of the better ACC teams. SMU, Louisville, both were good last year. Cal. Pitt and BC are like their traditional quote unquote rivals. UVA should have won the ACC last year. North Carolina, Belichick, or circus show. Yeah, and so I don't know. 7-5, 8-4. I don't know. What do you think? Drop me some comments. All right, let's get out of here today with something about Demetrius Samuel Jr. So we've talked obviously about his freshman season, and it was a really good one. He had 43 total tackles, 33 solo tackles, 10 assisted, 9 pass breakups, which I don't know if that was the highest among freshmen in the secondary, but it was definitely up there. He had 1 pick. He primarily played cornerback. I think he caught 1 pass as a wide receiver, but he was great. He was great. And he was like the second youngest FBS player this past season. Anyway, ESPN came out with their ranking of the 25 best freshmen from the whole season. And they put Samuel, oh shoot, I had it here and then I lost it. I think it was 16th. He was inside the top 20. That's all you need to know. I thought that was cool. And then between him and Antoine Delarier, another freshman who was a freshman All-American according to On3, and I feel like a couple other places I saw, 2 freshmen, that were really, really elite. So, there's talent on this roster. There's talent. And Delarier, he had 60 total tackles. I think that was second on the team. 2.5 tackles for loss, a sack, a couple of forced fumbles, a couple of pass breakups. Yeah, I mean, those 2 guys definitely are going to be cornerstones of this defense moving forward, with a new defensive coordinator, with a new DB coach, with a new he's got don't they have a new defensive line coach, a new edges coach? Yeah, I'm like, just going on and on here. But yeah, they got a lot of good coaches coming in, coaches that I feel like, and I've talked about this on Syracuse Central and writing for Inside the Loud House, coaches that aren't bad at recruiting, but I feel like their resumes of player development and excelling in the position area they're in, I think is, I don't need to compare it to 2025 because 2025 is over and done with, but I think it's first class. And so they have plenty of recruiting prowess with Fran Brown and some others, and Tommy Caporelli, the GM, plenty. But having position coaches and a DC and an OC, well, obviously Jeff Nixon is still there, that really know their stuff in terms of the coaching and the player development is key. So anyway, we'll see. The defense was not good this past season, but Samuel and Delare were. So congrats to them. All right, that's going to do it for today's edition of Syracuse Central on the Fan Arch Network. I'm your host, Neil Adler. It's a blessing and a gift to be able to chat with you all every day. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please drop me comments about what you like and you don't like every single episode. Friends, have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll talk to you again on Friday. Take care.